Can't help but
Okay.
help it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So what I was talking about with the Air Force, all right, when it comes to all these customers, you're gonna find some services are a lot more loose than others. So I've coached people who they'd never even been in the military before ever, and they still can go to an army base and they can get 10-day contractor passes. They just give insurance license and they're like, yeah, I'm going to see the logistics cell at this building number or whatever. Or the guy even he gave him the answers like, hey man, are you here to see the logistics guys over at building whatever? He's like, yes, I am. And then boom, he goes back every 10 days and he gets this damn 10-day pass, and that was like Fort Polk, Louisiana, right? Because it's just loose. But then in the Air Force the stuff's a lot tighter. Okay, because especially if they have like some pretty heavy shit or pretty secret stuff, then yeah, obviously they're you're gonna have to have an escort if you don't have a direct need to know. But the other thing I was talking about, that's just installation access, is Air Force is a little bit more squared away in their contracting process, right? Where the Army, it's not. I don't want to say it's not as organized, right? If you need something, you can find a way to get it. If you don't want to go through your contracting office, which most people don't, well, they're like, hey, if you don't like our process, you're free to go wherever you want. If you can get it a better way, it's more loose. Whereas the Air Force, their contracting officers, which a lot of them are soldiers, they're airmen. They will hold the customer. They'll go down to a squadron and hold their hand. All they have to do is say like, hey, I have a quote. I want this bought. Can you make it contract? And then they'll actually do it. They'll actually do it and say, "Yeah, man, I got you. I'll take care of everything." It's kind of what I expected in the army. I figured you just get a quote, you go give it to them, and they just make it a contract because it's over the GPC amount, right? But it's not like that. They're like, "No, man, it doesn't work like that at all." Um, Whereas in the Air Force, they're a little bit more accommodating, and the contract officers are more involved in those processes. So some people in the Air Force, the contract officers specifically, they don't want to go through DLA because they're like, well, hell, we gotta pay you, but then we gotta pay a prime on top of that, adding 12%, and then we gotta pay DLA 5.4% to use their contract. So that's a lot of money. Whereas I could just contract directly with you. I could just do it directly to you, which makes sense. It's what the Army should do, right? But they don't hold your hand like that in the Army. And I think there's a lot fewer contract officers in the Army, man, because they were all stressed out, kind of shoved in cubicles, and everybody and their brother is just dumping stuff on them. As soon as they buy something, boom, there's something else there, and they're doing multiple things at once for multiple people. And so I think that's kind of why they're like, hey, man, if you can get it somewhere else and you need it faster, then hey, feel free. You're good luck because it's less work for them, right? Whereas the Air Force, they're a little bit more involved and they kind of baby the customer and they know that, yeah, it's an already existing contract. DLA is an already existing contract, but I can just contract directly with you. And then another big point was, yeah, I know you're here to learn about supplies and with delivery, setup, installation, whatever incidental services, but even if you're in front of the government, it's really likely that they'll drop opportunities in your lap because you're one of the few people there. And if it's written as a service, that's okay. You don't turn it down because you're doing the same thing.